Sophie McNeil is a former Middle East correspondent currently with Human Rights Watch, and she joins us now. We've just heard there a heartbreaking plea from 10-year-old Nadine. It does make you think how many more Nadines are out there.
Oh, look, Peter, there are so many more Nadines because there are currently 2 million Palestinian civilians trapped in Gaza with nowhere to go. And out of the nearly 170 people killed in the last few days in Gaza, nearly 50 of those are believed to be children. Now, we've also seen a 6-year-old Israeli boy die in a Hamas rocket attack, which is also a war crime. But the death toll is always much higher on the Palestinian side because of this Israeli history, a pattern of an excessive use of force. And the thing is, Peter, it's not just about what's happened in the last week in Gaza. It's about decades of human rights abuses by the Israeli state against the Palestinian people. And here at Human Rights Watch, we made a really historic legal finding just 2 weeks ago that the lack of human rights for Palestinians after more than 50 years of occupation in the West Bank, more than 15 years of a blockade on Gaza, we're saying that this is a system of apartheid and that it has to end.
Sophie, you've worked over there. What did you think as you saw that building coming down?
Well, Lisa, I've been in that building. I've got friends who've spent years working there, and we heard the Israeli spokesperson call it a centre of terror. It's not. Families live there in their homes. Journalists tell the most important stories from there. We are concerned that the Israelis targeted this building because they don't want the world to see what is going on. And it's really disproportionate to cause such a strike on a building. I mean, that is a war crime to use such a disproportionate use of force. So that's our concern.
Is there any evidence at all that Hamas was in that building?
The Israelis haven't provided any evidence, and the head of AP there, which is, America's largest news organisation, have said that there is absolutely no evidence, and they've said why would they place their journalists in the line of fire by allowing that to happen? And these journalists, they know how Israel works as well. Why would they operate in a building if they knew that was going on when their lives would be directly at risk? So that there is no evidence of that, and we are really concerned that it was a deliberate targeting by Israel because they don't want the world to see. And it's just so infuriating that Israel can do this live on TV, broadcast the centre of international journalism in Gaza, and pretty much know they can get away with it because they have in the past. And we're saying that has to end. That kind of impunity has to stop.
Sophie, tensions only seem to be escalating, not slowing down. What should the rest of the world be doing here?
Well, what the world needs to do is say enough is enough. I mean, we saw the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu say that they won't stop until Gaza is silent. But, this is not acceptable. We need Israel's friends, countries like Australia and America, to say that you can't continue to act like this. It's 2021. The Palestinian people can't be treated like second-class citizens. You can't allow a system of apartheid, a system of occupation, a system of blockading a people inside the world's largest prison in Gaza for this period of time and just accept it as the status quo. I think we saw people, thousands across Australia and the world, out on the streets saying no more. They're not going to accept this. The world is no longer going to turn a blind eye. Things need to change, and they need to change soon before we see another, last war, 550 Palestinian children died in that conflict. We don't want to see that again. Enough is enough. Israel's friends have to speak out and tell it that it can't continue like this.
Sophie, thanks so much for your insights. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Quick break. We'll be back. Don't go away.